So the evolution of marketing, has moved from execution to strategy.
Marketing, sales, and product works. All of these works very, very closely, right? All of this start with educating our prospects.
So, and we also talked about strategy led sales in right in the beginning. So, how do you practically do that?
And that gap can be filled from the marketing perspective because growth should always be efficient, not just fast kind of, right?
So, what is the tech stack that you envision today will empower the team, and which is the most important bit for you today?
I have seen companies who actually have generated thousands of leads, right?
It's all about
And
innovating. It's all about
it is
innovating.
all about innovating. Actually, don't see B2B and B2C as completely different anymore, but being memorable, right? Without losing the credibility. But you are selling that product to humans, not to machines.
Within B2B, how will it differ between product and services?
If you start paying attention to those small details, right, you will start learning a lot. This is what I believe.
A very warm welcome to you, Navnish. I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Shita. It's really great to join you today on this call.
Of course. So, today, before I start our conversation, I'll introduce you to the audience today. So, Navnish Bhardwaj is with me, and he's the head of marketing at a company where he leads the full funnel marketing across the company's many products. And these are the times when we should be talking about products. With the new, with AI rushing in and so much at our hands, I think the next phase of the 2-3 years are going to be how can we use AI across our products. While that is happening, I think how do you go do a GTM for such solutions is going to be very important for each one of us here. So, with his 10 years of experience in digital marketing, GTM strategy, that too across cross-channel growth, I think Navneet has worked across industries and geos, including India and Southeast Asia, and his career spans across roles in organizations such as global school groups, which he always, we have had some discussion before where he's very proud of what he could achieve there, prep ladder, medical tourism, and large marketing initiatives across performance marketing, brand strategy, and growth programs. Today, he's working as the current company also works on Salesforce. So I think some amazing solutions are developed on it. So he's at the right place to speak to us all about how to create a scalable GTM plan for solutions and products like this, which are about to ace our market. So welcome again, Navnish.
Yeah, thank you so much, and really, really thankful for adding so many good words to my intro. Right, I'm feeling proud as of now. Right.
We all are proud of the kind of work we take where we get passionate, and then when you retrospect, that's the time you realize that, oh, this is what we did. So very happy to highlight you. I think we had some awesome conversation before this also.
Thank you so much.
So
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that,
really.
I think given these entire decade, and it's a very unique place you are in, where you've come from B2C to B2B, and today you're doing both almost in your current
Mhm.
profile. I also understand you as pursuing PhD, and which is amazing. I think we'll talk about it sometime. So the evolution of marketing, has moved from execution to strategy. It has to be, right? But
Right.
still, many companies, I feel, they are stuck in tactical marketing, and they all, however, need to now, I've had some conversations where they also understand that it's time to move through a strategy-led growth models. So my question right now here is to you is that what does really a strategy first marketing organization look like in today's world within your context, let's say?
Mhm. So, on a generic note, right, I would love to say today marketing is all about business function, right? It is no longer about executing something, right? You are good at making ads, right? Anyone can create those, right? So many tools, so many tutorials are out there, right? Unless you will be keeping yourself in the shoe of a business function unit, right? Or from that perspective where you will be stop calling yourself as a marketer or will start calling yourself as a revenue driven marketer, right?
Yes.
This is a kind of shift that I do personally believe that is taking place in market on a higher level, right?
Right, right.
But if I have to answer this in a very, very strategic way, kind of, right? So honestly, something I see very close in the marketing today for me A strategy-led marketing organization is uh, very clear on one thing, right? It starts with the business goal, not the marketing activity, right? Something related to the broader goal, which I said, right? Many companies still begin with channels or campaigns, right? Strategy-led teams, right? Those are who begins with questions like where will growth come from, which customer matters most, what problem are we solving for them, right? In today's world, a strategy-led marketing team usually has three clear qualities, right? If I have to segregate, first I would say is they are customer first and insight driven, right?
Yeah.
They deeply understands their ICP, whom they have to connect, whom they have to target, right? Not just those demographics or not just those basic behaviors or intent or those buying triggers, right? That clarity shapes everything, right? How the messaging would be, how the channels would be, how the GTMs would be. And second, I would say is they are aligned with the revenue, right? Or not just leads, right? It is not no longer about creating leads. It is more about creating MQs, about creating SQs, about creating sales, right? Marketing, sales, and product works. All of these works very, very closely, right? The success metrics are pipeline conversions, right? Not just those generic leads. This is how the things would be moving. And the third thing I would say is they work on one connected system, not in silos, right? The things are different now, right? Brand, demand gen, and performance all are aligned around one narrative, one outcome, right? So, from my experience moving from, as you said, right, across B2C, B2B,
Yeah.
the biggest difference I see is maturity in thinking. Strategy-led organizations focus less on doing, right? They focus more and more on doing the right things constantly. This is what I believe.
Great, great point here. So moving very logically, what you said, having not working in silos, but working, throughout very seamlessly. So this obviously raises a question that how should a modern marketing engine actually look like? Like how does the full funnel marketing approach actually, work across? How do you really optimize? Since I know you are an expert of digital and outbound, so how does the cross channel optimize? How do you do that? And yeah, so how do marketing teams really structure this full funnel growth, which is very important, for our GTMs to be scalable, to be predictable, yes, and of course strategy led.
See, a modern marketing engine is actually very simple in structure, right? But very disciplined in execution. So it's a combination of both, right? I usually see it as one connected funnel, right? Where three strong layers working together, right? The
Okay.
first layer is about awareness and trust. You can also link this to the very well-known theory in market, right? That tofu, mofu kind of
Yeah.
terminology, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is where brand, content, social, PR, and thought leadership play a role. You will be building all those things with awareness and trust, right? The goal here is not selling, I would say, on the first step, but helping people understand who you are and what problems you are solving, right? And then in the second layer, it is all about creating the demand, creating the consideration, right? Here, inbound plays a very big role. Content, the webinars, for example, the podcast, SEO, case studies, retargeting, all of this start with educating our prospects and
Right.
moving them closer to the decisions, right? So
Right.
we are working on suspects, then we are working on prospect, and then we are trying to focus on the conversions or the client part, right? That would be the third layer, right? Conversions and revenue. This is where performance marketing can play a major role. Stronger landing pages, CROs,
Yes.
alignment with sales, right? All of this
Right.
comes close in the loop, right? After these three things, as I said, it is very simple structure to understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the important part is how it all connects.
Okay.
Then cross channel part, right? So cross channel works only when these three things are clear,
Hmm.
right? And on the top, if you have to add as the first one would be one message across channels. As you said, right? How we do manage those
Yeah.
cross channel things, right? No silos, just clarity, multiple operations being executed within marketing at once, but all streamlined,
Okay.
right? Your message across all channels needs to be very, very
Unified.
clear.
You mean it
Correct?
has to be
Yeah,
unified?
unified.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
The story should feel the same, right?
Okay.
Whether someone sees an ad, someone reads a blog, or
Right.
talks to the same, right? Even those things need to be synced. You need to have regular meetings with your sales team, all of those,
Yes.
so everyone can be in same place, same chapter,
Right.
right?
Right.
Then I would say shared data and tracking.
Hmm.
That also plays very important role when it comes about optimizing things in cross-channel way,
Yeah.
right? So all channels should be, I would say, made together, not separately,
Yeah.
right? Most of people or most of companies, what they do is, okay, so what performance marketing team is doing, that would be considered differently because they have a different head for that, right?
Hmm.
They will be having one-on-one meeting with SEO head, right? The data would be treated differently. But
Right.
the beauty is if you will be combining the data for those, right? Only then cross optimization is. You will be looking at the search console data, what people are actually searching organically.
Right.
And then those terms where you are not ranking on a good position
Right.
can be packed up and be supplied to your performance marketing team to run ads around those.
Right.
Or
Right.
on other hand, you can look at your performance marketing data, for example, search terms coming from your Google ad,
Right.
right? Okay, what all positions are or what all keywords are where the prices are very high for the bidding or the click.
Right.
Those terms can be supplied to your SEO team. So they can start producing content in the same direction. So in future, your cost per lead should be minimized or your cost per click should be minimized,
Right.
right?
Right.
So a collaboration
Between
within
all.
those would be needed, right?
So,
We
Navnish, in the marketing side, most of it comes under a marketing head, right? But
Mhm.
there is when you also mentioned that the sales team should be brought in. We should hear them often. So, and we also talked about strategy led sales in right in the beginning. So, how do you practically do that? How do you see sales have their own targets, they have their own accounts to go by. So, how easy or how tough is it for you to practically do this? And how do you impact that part?
right. So see, I understand completely. Like sales have their own targets, understood. But how those targets would met,
Hmm.
right? I guess sales team would be having one major benefit with them is that is outreach, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can start dialing numbers or they can start shooting messages on LinkedIn. This is what they will be doing at max without marketing, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But what they will be communicating over the call or
Hmm.
what kind of messages they will be shooting on LinkedIn, right? They might need some marketing collaterals, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of
Yeah.
docs, some images to be shared with.
Yeah.
That would be supplied with
Yes.
the marketing effort only, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then other thing is if they will not be having inbound leads in place,
Right.
their targets will suffer,
Yes.
right? So sales and marketing goes hand in hand, kind of, right? They
Right.
need to understand, they need to connect on a uh, platform, right? Where both teams should come together and discuss what the challenges they are facing. For example, how I do sit with sales team is, right? I do try to sit with junior SDR people as well,
Okay.
right? To understand what challenges they are facing. For example, if they call someone, I recently did a campaign in Vietnam, right, where one of the sales girl was calling and arranging the demo calls, right? So I actually audited the calls,
Yeah. Yeah.
what she is talking about, what the customer is talking about, right? You will be figuring out what's the gap,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that gap can be filled from the marketing perspective.
Definitely. Yes.
So
Wonderful.
so that collaboration is needed.
Right, right. No, I we had discussed about your sales structure, so I know that proximity is there, and of course that was a brilliant way to get it back. Instead of asking them, just be with them. Probably is an answer sometimes.
Correct. If you're looking at from another perspective,
Exactly.
right? Honestly, I
Yeah,
would say this practice sometimes looks very easy or very good to
yeah,
adopt, right? You will be sitting with sales kind of, right?
yeah.
It's not always easy,
Right.
right? Because, like you said, sales has their own targets,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So
Right.
there will be conflicts
Yes.
around your targets, right? Around timelines, around pressures.
Right.
Marketing has its own goal, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if both teams work separately, alignment almost never happens.
Right. Right.
So they should work. This is a kind of suggestion also to everyone, right? If they will be working together, only then they will be able to achieve the targets, both for marketing and both for sales. As you will be keep on finding on fighting around attribution. Oh, this was a kind of outbound lead. This was a kind of inbound lead, right? So those things are needed, right?
Right.
And what has worked for me is keeping it very practical and structured, right? If you
Yeah.
will be empowering your teams, right,
Yeah.
that why we are doing this, why we need to sit once in a week to discuss about how the feedback has been on your calls,
Right.
right? For example, you send 10 messages to someone, right? If someone replied, what they replied, we can keep working on improving our ICPs.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is what
Yes,
it is.
yes, yes. So at this, two questions come from this part we discussed. One I realized is, yes, there's always a conflict between sales, and of course you should work practically. But are
Mhm.
there any KPIs which kind of are your best ones that has shown value to your management, as well as you were able to attribute both your performances? So one of your top KPIs which are working today, or which the makes the boardroom happy and makes you too more practical. Yeah.
So, the major KPI is MQs. This is I would say, right? Which would be making management happy, which would be making sales team happy, which would be making even marketing team happy, right? That we are on track, we are contributing to the revenue, right?
Right. Right.
But on a bigger canvas, right? There are so many things which comes into picture, right? We do look into the
I don't
overall.
mean to be impartial, but still your favorite. You don't have to name all of them, but the top three which you like. One is MQLs, then
Uh, I would say pipeline contribution would
Right.
be the very first one for me,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Uh, See, because how much pipeline marketing is actually creating or influencing, this is one of the strongest indicator for leadership that we are contributing this much of business or this much number of leads are coming into system,
right,
right? Uh,
right,
in other those marketing terms, you can start giving them different name. Oh, I am increasing impression count, it means my
right.
market share is increasing. I am contributing on the traffic, people are coming on
But
website,
there's actually
this
the
much number of
pipeline.
people.
Pipe
Actually, the real thing is
is
which
pipeline.
will be making me as a leader into marketing, or for every leadership people in the company, would be that pipeline part. And second would be conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
Conversion rate across the funnel,
Hmm.
right? From marketing perspective, right? From lead to opportunity to closed lead. This shows the quality of pipeline that we are generating, the quality of leads that we are generating, not just the volume. Because I don't want to hear from my boss someday that, oh, you keep on saying that 100 leads are there, 200 leads are there. What about the business? But no one is buying out of that, right? So that quality also matters. That would be the number two part for me. And
Absolutely.
number three would be the CAC. How much effort it has taken, not monetary only, but yes, my team is involved into it, right? How much time we are spending it, although there is not any specific method to calculate CAC on the basis of efforts,
Yeah.
but yes, still I know from the depth of my heart, right, that this much effort is something that we are spending into it, right? But monetary you can calculate easily, right?
Right.
Because growth should always be efficient, not
Right.
just fast, kind of, right? So that
Yes.
CAC matters. Your LTV also matters on longer run. So
Okay.
those kind of things I would say matters more.
So while we talked about KPIs, and we talked about empowering with messaging and unifying, tell me, I think tools becomes an important part, given that today we have so many of them, right? But of course. So what is the tech stack that you envision today will empower the team, and which is the most important bit for you today? Like, which one is the most important bit for you, like on the sales enablement side, or is it during precision side, or during targeting, or during the flow? So which what's your tech stack look like today, and which is your most favorite part over here, where you have a lot of hopes around? Yeah.
So I would say not one actually, right? See, marketing is something which is changing very fast.
Yeah.
And this is not something which is today after coming of AI into picture, right?
Right.
This has been from day one also. Marketing has been kind of always quoted as ever evolving kind of field, where
Right.
you have to experiment on daily basis. You have to come up with new ideas every day. This is similar with tools as well, right?
Okay.
Although there are some traditional tools, if I have to choose one, tool which has been in picture from day one, which
Yeah.
I still uses, that is Google Analytics. That is completely free of cost, and that gives me idea about who is coming on my website and
Right.
from where they are coming, right? Those channels where I have to increase or decrease my budget or effort, right? That is very, very important, right? But on a higher level or from a real marketer perspective, apart from Google Analytics, I have to look into see uh, tools plays very important role,
Hmm.
right? So CRM would be one thing,
Right.
which is the need of our as of now, right?
Right.
That every company should start focusing on, right? Because everything starts there. That is the base. How you will be storing your data. I have seen companies who actually have generated thousands of leads.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as those are not segregated, as those are not recorded properly in system, all of those are waste, right? What about the next day when you will start nurturing them, when you will start doing email marketing or those kind of activities around that data, right? If those things would not be stored correctly, that would be issue for you. I would not name any CRM tool directly because I am associated with a CRM company directly. But yes, CRM is something which you should have. You
Right.
can use any CRM tool, right? But other than that, there are some other tools that you should rely on, right? For analytics and attribution, right? There are some tools to know about what people are talking about you in market,
Yeah.
right? Those tools about social listening,
Yeah.
right? So in that term, I can name Sprout Social as one of the tool which has been came up or evolved as very very good tool in the space of marketing, right? It helps you in managing your social media stuff, it helps you in managing your uh, uh, audiences, right? It helps you in managing or hearing what people are talking about. This social listening is very very brutal, right? One of the best social listening tools I came across.
It's powerful.
Then they are also upgrading their tool on regular basis, right? They have enabled AI into it, right? It will be giving you various kind of insights, how your customers are interacting, what you should do next, what kind of post you should come up on your social media with. All of those things are included into it.
So one question here: have you ever? Does it work that way that social listening has helped you in also, in kind of the way you target your accounts, or which accounts do you target, or kind of picking up the intent or signals while building your tally list? Let's say, is that can that be done? Is that possible that way?
Yes, that can be done, right? And social listening actually plays very, very important role,
Hmm.
right? Most of the time, people do think in marketing as social listening is all about ORM, right? If you have to
Yes,
improve
only
your
just reputation.
reputation,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
someone is talking bad about your
right.
company. But what about those who are talking about good? You can start leveraging those. You can start cross-selling around it. Or
Yeah,
what if you will start listening about the niche or industry you are targeting,
yes,
right?
right.
For example, if I am selling something for real estate
Let's say we
people,
can, yeah, real estate. Let's say I was coming closer. So let's say real estate. Yeah.
right? So what people in real estate industry are talking about, what
Yes.
challenges they are facing, right?
Do
What they
companies
are
use, do
talking.
marketers use this, like the pain they're talking about, the need they're talking about, that often can be used, right, as intent and signals, for which today products are saying we have this, we have that. But I think the easiest way would be social listening. Is it possible? Yeah, is that so? It's possible?
Yes, yes, it is possible. And the bad part is people most of the time don't realize this. This is the harsh reality of the marketing field, right? Most of the marketers these days are still sticking to that SEO, PPC. Oh, this is marketing. That's it, right? Actually, marketing is uh, much bigger than that, right?
It's all about
And
innovating. It's all about
it is
innovating.
all about innovating. It is all about innovating,
Yeah.
right? For example, if you see, we look at signals like leadership hiring, funding news, tech adoption, conversions. For example, who onboarded which client? For example, if I'm into CRM space, right? Company A onboarded company B as their partner for CRM customization. It is very important to look into, right? How people or how companies are growing into that space, right? These small signals actually help us prioritize which account to focus on. And if you will be able to crack that, and if you will be working directly in correlation with your sales team, right, you will be able to
Sales team will
onboard
be
good
happy.
amount of customers.
He'll always call you into the room. You don't have to
Correct.
go and listen to them.
This is how your pipeline will be built,
Yeah.
right? And this is how that quality would be maintained
Exactly.
because you are targeting them in a very, very steep way, right? So one real example, let me give you, right? Around social listening and about targeting, how I did this in past. Not for the current company, I would say, or I would not name any of the clients, but I will be taking example from some old scenario, right? So it was about increasing admissions for a certain school in Cambodia, right? So I started listening through, like that time I was using Signal, right, not Sprout Social, and few other tools to understand what people are talking about in market, right? What kind of pain points they have. They have around finalizing the school where their kids would be going, right? So I came up with those things, right? I figured out what people will be looking around and what exactly has been their geolocation from where those searches are coming. Then I did a meta campaign targeting that specific geo to increase admissions around it. Another easy example from B2B perspective would be, for example, you know that company ABC, who is in Noida Sector 61, would be needing this solution, and my sales team will be start pitching them. So you can come up with a meta kind of campaign. You can deploy some budget on around that sector 62 Noida or all of those employees who are working in that specific company. LinkedIn also give you that privilege to run ads around that, right? So whenever they will be coming on LinkedIn, whenever they will be coming on Instagram or Facebook after their working hours, they will be seeing only one ad. That is your ad. Again and again, something similar to which Agoda did around 5 6 years back. Every time whenever you will be watching TV, it will be saying, right, Agoda kind of stuff, right? So
When you
that is
said
something,
Agoda, directly Agoda goes into the mind. It has such a strong recall because
right?
of that.
So once after 15 days or after 20 days or after 30 days, your sales team will give them call. Oh, I'm calling from company A. They already are aware of what company A is.
Right.
Even if they don't want anything, even if they never researched about what company A do, but they have heard about the name earlier. So they will at least start listening you. Okay, what you have to
So tell
offer.
me something. See, you also come from a B2C background now, especially into B2B. Have you tried, no, in B2C, marketing is exciting. We often differentiate always B2B from B2C, in a very different way. Of course, my next question or section was about that. But having said that, such things, excite you, inspire you. Why could not we create a jingle for B2B while talking to our people? When we are talking real estate software, why does those 200, 300 account not start start saying the brand name in a different way, and that rings. I was reading a book recently. In marketing, some people have to hate you for some people to like you. So, does it ever come to your mind that you want to do something out of the box, which, even your product like, sets into the head? Just say, agoda reh gaya. How those names stick with us forever. So, what do you think about this space when we go ahead?
So, see, I personally actually don't see B2B and B2C
Correct.
as completely different anymore,
Correct.
right? Because things over time has evolved,
Yeah.
right? If you will be looking at the data now from last 2 3 years, right? Every other B2B company is making reels. Every other B2B company or SaaS startups, they are making reels. They are starting educating people, right? So they have already started using those B2C marketing methods in their system. The audience may be different, right?
Yes.
But the psychology is very, very similar, right? What we just did, right? We talked about Agoda and we said, oh, it struck in my mind,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
the psychology will remain same. At the day end, even if you are into B2B industry, when you will be going home, you will be a B2C customer as well, right?
Yes.
You will be consuming B2C product. And if there would be some kind of similar things pitched in front of you, you will relate because psychology is same. So yes, I absolutely believe in idea like jingles, strong brand recalling, and even we already have done that for few of our brands.
Right. Right.
Right? We
Wow.
are doing that. But yes,
Excellent.
I don't want to name that those directly
Yes.
because I don't want this podcast or this fireside chat to be look like a sponsored one,
Yes.
right? Where
Yes.
Chitra is
Definitely.
promoting my products, right?
Yeah.
So it is more about educating fellow marketers, right? So I'll
Yes.
be
Yes.
keeping it
Yes.
around that only. So
So
yes, that
around the
is something
same
which works.
example, when we realize how similar B2B, B2C, and then we are also consumers and we are making the part of a larger
Correct,
organization
correct.
decision. So this also came very clearly to us once, when we were thinking of, okay, account-based marketing. You run a thread for every possible decision maker influence in the same account, and we was
Mhm.
like, it will happen, the sales will happen. And because how different, there are organization, the organization will buy
Correct.
it because they need it. But it was not
Mhm.
that. Every single person also has his own whims and fantasies. They still
Correct.
have to be, a person has to be one before an organization has to be one. So I think it's very palpable that both had to merge somewhere, and we as marketers are very, we can definitely cross learn and we cross use all the strategies.
They
That's what I
have to,
feel.
they have to. But the thing is, right? I think B2B sometimes
Yeah.
plays very safe, right?
Yeah, they
Uh,
do.
Many brands sounds the same most of the times. Even if you will be looking at their creatives, they will look same. Hardly, like even if there is no logo in it, right? You will not be able to differentiate, right?
Very
Which
true,
company it
very
is
true. The
talking about.
same
They
USPs, the same features. When
same
these companies
things.
come to us, sell us, they have no USP and not even no innovation or creativity to even to project it differently. They want to be the same. You're very right.
Correct.
That's safe.
Correct.
I think we should have one.
That's why.
we
That's why they are forgettable. Do remember that.
Yes,
That's why
yes.
they are forgettable, right?
So,
From my experience, what works best is finding the balance. Yes, we are into B2B, right? We can't go complete that real dances kind of stuff, right? We have to stick to a certain decorum or certain kind of thing, but being memorable, right? Without losing the credibility. For example, simple storytelling can be part of it. Strong hooks can be part of it. You can come up with jingles, right? And you can be constant through your messages across channels. If you
right.
will be doing that, people will start remembering you. And these jingles kind of stuff, right? Believe me, it is very easy to do with SaaS businesses. I'm not sure why they are not adopting it. So many books out there, right, talking about the stuff, right? How to build a memorable brand. Brand story has been one of the book, right? So many people are talking about it, but not sure that why people are not understanding no difference between B2C or B2B, right? Only your product is different. Only the way the product will be used, that is different.
Right.
But you are selling that product to humans, not to machines, right? And they will be having similar kind of psychology. And
Right.
if you will start triggering that, if you will start coming up with something different, they will start liking you,
Right.
right? Everyone can get inspiration from Ogilvy, right? The kind of
Yeah.
marketing they guy do, that is very, very brilliant, right? Although the most of time they do cater B2C kind of brands, but yes, so much to learn from them. Even if you will be start following two, three major pages,
Hmm.
Mad Over Marketing,
Hmm.
Ogilvy, right? These three, four pages, you will start understanding, right? How to link, where to link things.
We'll put a link there in our podcast, in this one at least, so that
Sure,
people can
sure.
get inspired again, once again. Okay, so at this place, I'll just ask you the difference when you have planned a GTM for a SaaS based solution versus a services based,
Mhm.
how different, what are the fine differences which you need to take care of when you plan for either of them? Or which are the channels, which are the modes, or whatever are more important, distinct in each of them?
Right. So see, multiple things matter, right? For me, the biggest difference starts with is the buying behavior, right? It depends from your product. The psychology in B2C launch would be a bit different,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
The psychology with B2B would be a bit different, although they are somewhere relevant. But yes, there is something, right?
Yeah.
How they will be buying. For example, if I have to pitch a B2B product, that is going to be a bit less expensive, right? For example, a toothpaste, right?
That's right.
The psychology or the decision which would be in background to buy that would be very easy, very simple.
Right.
On the other hand, if I'm pitching them something into SaaS, which cost around 1 CR, right? The theory, the life cycle, everything would
Oh,
change,
true, true.
right?
No, so
That
that's
is very important to
moving
understand.
from B2C to B2B. So now I'm coming within B2B. Within
Hmm.
B2B, how will it differ between product and services? Like, how would your channels for marketing and building a pipeline be different? Or what marketing optimization do you do when you do for products versus services? Yeah.
Right. So ideally on higher level, I would say, right, if you are into B2B, there are some favorite channels, right?
Yeah.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
that is going to work for you, right?
Yes, yes.
If you're into B2C, there are other particular channels which will be working for you, right? And then even if you will